Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy Cool Colas here, and you're tuned into another cool video. So, today, I have a topic here that's a little more on the serious side that I want to talk to y'all about. It's really, really late slash very early in the morning right now. So I wanted to hurry up and kind of like get this video idea out here so you guys can kind of hear what I have to say. Going to kind of refer to some of my notes, but today I wanted to talk to y'all about how or what my brand is about and why I feel like most people kind of don't understand the concept of my brand. So again, this is not for all people. This is just for what I think the majority of people do. I think a lot of people kind of look at the symbolism, or one of two things actually. They either look at the symbolism of who I am, or they look at the fact that it's me because they know me, or they love me, or they want to support me because of that, because of the things that I'm trying to do. And they don't really understand what it is that I actually am trying to do for the most part. They think that they do, though. I found this to be something that I think is quite like a common thing for a lot of different reasons, but I'm going to touch on the main reasons why, one, this is problematic, and two, why why I need to define what it is that I'm actually trying to do here. So, number one, I think people like the symbolism of me doing like some type of business or trying to create some type of brand. Well, first of all, I think what most people see is they see person of color. That's what I think most people kind of translate, and they see a person of color who is outspoken and who will say the things that is on his mind authentically. And I think that a lot of people kind of see that there's a trend of that's needed. So I'm just a piece of that trend of people of color who are expressing themselves and trying to create something. So that's the first thing that I typically see. Second thing is I think people just respect like what I'm doing because it's me, or the idea that I'm like hustling. So here's why that's problematic. I think most people think that that's actually a compliment when really it's it actually shows like the issues that go on in our society. So in other words, that's not for me to say that I'm ungrateful for anybody who shows me any appreciation or shows me love or says that they want to support me or whatever. Like that's not it at all. But I don't like see the good in being complimented because of just my ability to hustle alone without looking at what I specifically am trying to do. So in other words, when someone is trying to hustle, it shows that we as people value the fact that they are working hard, or the idea of looking productive for the sakes of looking productive, but not necessarily honoring what it is that that person may be doing. So let me give you an example. Let's say that a black woman opens a business and she is selling hair or hair products or whatever. Like she has like her own shop and she's selling hair products. So although a lot of people will say she's out here hustling, most people won't just kind of go to this factor that she's out here hustling. What they'll do is they'll look at like what she's actually selling. That's what they care about, is what she's actually selling. And so a lot of what is going to get respected with her is the fact that she is catering to other black women who need hair products or who need hair or whatever that case is. So a lot of people like are respecting, what it is that she's doing, not just the fact that she's hustling for the sake of hustling. Because to me, that's not, I mean, like I know that it's meant well, but it's not like a compliment for me. And it's not a compliment because it's basically saying that like me grinding is a thing that you like, but not necessarily the thing that I am or the thing that I'm like representing here. So that's the one thing that I want to make very clear, is that I think that that's what most people around me I feel do. They like the fact that I'm hustling. They don't really know what I'm hustling with, or aren't necessarily intrigued with the idea of what that is. I just think that they know that I am trying to put stuff out there. I'm like making content and writing content, but I think that a lot of people aren't necessarily like seeing a lot of that, like reading a lot of that and whatnot. Now, I think there's some people that are, and there's an occasional person where I may be like, hey, you should check out so and so and so and so, and that's just all a part of marketing, right? But I think at the end of the day, I think it might not be very clear to people what it is that who I am as a brand and what I'm trying to do. So I want to kind of flush out what it is that I'm trying to get accomplished here. So the vision of this brand is mainly to help black men. That is the focus of it. Now that also includes other black people as well too. So I'm not throwing that out of the door, but it's primarily to help black men, because there's a lot of black men, like young black men, and I'm mainly talking about children, but young black men also go into this category, who have a lot of creative minds, and that creativity doesn't really get encouraged, like when they're in school or by their peers even. Like I think that there's a trend of that, being seen more, but I don't think that it's encouraged enough. And I also think that they don't have the proper education as well too, to have like the right knowledge itself to really embrace their cultures for real. And I think that's very important for black men specifically. And I think that in a world where black men are, I think that they're the most hated, because everybody tries to ostracize them in society. And you can see that from some of like these groups out here that do that. You can see that from like media. You can see that from the way that they're just treated in general. They're the most ostracized. And the sad part about that is other black men ostracize them as well too. So I'm seeing a glaring problem with that just from my experience, and then just from what I kind of like see kind of just in general. So I wanted to kind of like, cater what I'm doing to black men specifically, and teaching them. So the idea here is that not only am I trying to teach them, but I'm trying to teach them in a fun way and also a productive way, in the way that school has failed to do. So a lot of you all have probably recently seen me come for education, and rightfully so. As a matter of fact, I don't think I've actually come for education hard enough. And what I'm noticing is that I'm one of the only people who's feeling the way that I'm feeling about education. And so that's something where I'm really going to have to kind of like do some solo projects, like, like I have a book idea that I want to kind of write about just the education system in general, and how it's really a system of indoctrination. But my point is that that's cool. I'm not like mad about that or anything like that, but I wanted to make it clear that my sole purpose is to show how education needs to be corrected, and how for black people, and how it has not served them in the way that they think that it is now, or it has. Now, I think that a lot of people have attached themselves to things that they can find positively from their experience, but that doesn't mean that they're actually still getting, that quality, like education that they deserve. I mean, I could like sit there and have something bad happen to me, and then later say it's not that bad. And in my head, I think, well, it's not as bad as it is. So in other words, I could have got, so I'm giving you an example. So I could have gotten burned, and then I turn into a positive by saying, hey, I got a battle scar. Like, that's cool, but you still got burned. You still got a 3rd-degree burn if that's what happened to you. So I think that what needs to happen is, I think substance needs to be put back into education. And so a lot of the things that I'm trying to do, I'm trying to put fun, but also substance into the education of black children, black young men, and things like that. And like all the things that I'm creating are set to educate people like in different manners. So the things that I write are going to either educate, black men and black people in general about themselves or about their enemies. And then I also, again, want to create games that like help people to be financially aware, to also be aware of their own culture, and then to be aware of the people who they are surrounding themselves with. So it's basically a stab at like the whole self-awareness thing. Now, the reason why that's important is because when you're aware of yourself and you're aware of your surroundings, you're aware of the energy that you want to, try to attract. So I try to create things that help people to see that. And the games are going to kind of do that a little bit more than like the things that I write, like as far as books go and as far as comics go. So that's like the big thing there, is that I want to create something where people are able to learn, but also to be able to have fun. Because the main idea of when you're a writer or a creator is that you're really an entertainer, but you don't realize that you actually are wearing 2 hats. You're an entertainer and you're also an educator. So I'm putting those 2 together, and I'm creating a product that is authentically black, that again teaches black people to have like that cultural understanding of who they are, how powerful they are, and getting the proper education that they deserve. And so I think that all of like these things, kind of tie in as far as, what my brain is trying to create and is trying to put out there. So just to give you a little kind of like understanding of like the main ideals of like this brand here is the big thing here is to be honest. Be honest no matter what people say, what people think, and to be able to just express things, even if they're hard truths that other people either don't believe, don't fully understand, or just don't support. So that's my biggest thing, is like being honest. And to give that a little bit of context, what I mean is I'm going to be honest what I think issues are. I'm going to be very upfront about the things that I think need to change, but I'm also going to be upfront about the things that I feel or upfront about telling other people to be upfront and to be honest and to be able to speak their truth. Next thing is creativity, being able to encourage that, because I feel like the indoctrination system that we call education has kind of discouraged that. So I want to be able to tell people to kind of like kind of tap more into their creative juices and things like that. So that's like that next thing. The other thing that I want a person to kind of tap into that's really important here is being able to understand like self-awareness, who they are, and how that fits into the scope of like their own culture, and then how they can be a benefit to their people, and how they can be ultimately be a benefit to themselves. So just being aware of what your superpower is. And so the last thing is education. So education is another very important like pillar to the business that I'm trying to create. And the reason why education is such an important pillar is because like it's important to relearn or unlearn things that have not served you, and then to relearn things that are going to be able to serve you going forward. So I think that's the main thing, is like like being honest, enhancing your creativity, educating yourself, so you can apply your education properly, because ultimately knowledge is not power, but the application of knowledge is what really is power. And that's why self-awareness is also important as well too. The last thing I would say, and this is not necessarily in those four big ones, but it's something that's important as well too, is just to keep perspective in mind. Understand that you have a certain path, and that other people have other paths as well too, and to be able to understand those who you confront, those who are around you, and to kind of like start tailoring who you want in your circle, and understanding like who what other people are passionate about and what you are. And so that's why I made this video, is because I think a lot of people don't really truly understand what I'm passionate about. I think that people make the assumption, again, that I'm here to promote diversity. I think people make the assumption that I'm here to affiliate myself with like groups that really haven't defined themselves properly for Black liberation. I think people just assume that I'm a Black person just trying to just do things, and that's really cool. I'm not a Black person trying to do things. I'm a Black man with a voice who is one of the best writers on this planet, who will show the world how great of a writer he is, but in the process will also educate people from a cultural standpoint and from a psychological standpoint on the things that will help them to be able to optimize their creativity to the highest degree. Anyway, that's all I got for today. I appreciate all of you who have had an opportunity to check out everything that I have been doing, and have been able to check out this video. If you want to see more from me, you can follow me at Colas Creative on Twitter or Instagram. Or what you can do is go to Cool Colas Author on Facebook to see my author page. Last thing is you can go to my website, because all my content is there, creativecolas.com. Don't forget it. Just check it out. Anyway, I hope y'all have a good night. I appreciate y'all listening to me, and there will be a lot more to come. So stay tuned. I'll see you later. Peace.